Get ready for the Teen Summit Podcast. Presenting the teen co-host, Aisha.
What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Naya.
He's a what now? What is he?
And presenting your host, Rachel Bernadette.
Right, we're in there. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Teen Summit Podcast. Last week on episode 22, we had a double special called Anniversmas, and we talked about Christmas and our first anniversary as the Teen Summit Podcast. Today, we are super excited to be back on our 23rd episode, and tonight we are back with our self-awareness series, and we will be talking about self-awareness and resolutions. And we're in January. It is a brand new year, and we are excited to talk about New Year's resolutions because I'm sure most of us have some. Now on to the intro reel.
The Lafi presents Teen Summit Podcast with your host, Miss Ray. Youth with passion. Youth who speak their mind. Listen to the voices of our youth. Youth who care.
So to start off with our first segment, we have New Year's resolutions, and an article from CNET.com quoted a psychologist, Dr. Sophia Lazarus, saying that New Year's resolutions isn't a great idea as they, and I quote, put stress and pressure onto you. And she also states what we don't want to do is set a really large sweeping kind of goal and resolution and not meet it and feel stressed and discouraged. Now, Miss Ray, do you agree or disagree?
So, Miss Aisha, I feel like since we were talking about Dr. Sophia, we can address each other as Mrs. and Miss, well, actually Miss. I agree. And I think, resolutions, sometimes they feel really big and daunting, and 12 months seems like a long time to stick with anything. And one thing that I have started to do, and we'll elaborate on this a little bit, is to set routines, not resolutions. And at setting a goal, looking at what are the routines and the daily habits that you have to do in order to actually accomplish the resolution. So for example, if your resolution is to lose or to not be on social media as often. So that is a very big resolution for a lot of teens. Even for myself, it can be really challenging to not be online and be on social media. But what is the routines that I do every day that would help me to accomplish that? So for me, it's about just changing the words that I use so that it doesn't feel as overwhelming as Dr. Sophia said.
Yeah, I agree, Miss Wright. And not only changing the words, I feel like changing the attitude that you have when you go through your days is also really important too, because this year I know a lot of people had negative attitudes because of everything. Their hopes were down because of everything that happened with the pandemic. But now that we're going into a new year, everyone's having resolutions, and if you're going with a positive attitude, I feel like the year will most likely be better for you. And that is one of the things that I choose to do because, life's too short to be sad all the time.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And, I think we've talked a lot about how this pandemic has affected teens emotional and mental states as well. And so to Dr. Sophia's point, putting a lot of pressure to, my resolution is to get honor roll. Yes, that can be a good resolution or goal, but what are the routines that are actually going to get you to that resolution? Those are the small things that you do every day. And so maybe we can like explore that even just from like a personal level. Like, what are some of now that you think of resolutions differently, maybe what are some routines that you might want to start to adopt on January 1st, or even starting tomorrow, December 31st?
It's kind of hard. I mean, I feel like I'm already a morning person, and I feel like when you start your days off like really early, it's just like a sign that you're gonna have a good day because you have more energy. But like for me, I feel like just putting a little bit more time into doing productive things is really like a good way to like have a good, to have a good year, I guess. Like just, I don't know, putting your time and effort into what your passions are and what your interests are can lead to like a good routine. Because for me, I like writing. So if I choose to wake up early, one of the things that I can do throughout my day is write because it makes me feel good. So I guess like something like that is like productive and it makes you happy could be a good routine as well.
Yeah. So I love that. And the two routines that I heard is to get up to wake up earlier. And maybe I'll go a little bit deeper on that. So like, what does that look like for you waking up earlier? Do you usually wake up at 7 and you want to wake up now at 6:30? Like, what shift would that be?
I feel like if you normally wake up at 11, waking up at like 8 o'clock would be a good like difference because it'll give you more energy, it'll make you more positive, and it'll like overall just like, I don't know, make you feel different about like how you do things or like, the day, the way that things flow. Cause like for me, I wake up at 6, so I'm not going to wake up any earlier than that because, I have to get my 8 hours. But, for people who normally wake up like late in the day, just waking up a little bit earlier, like around 8 or 9 would really like, make you feel rejuvenated about things.
Well, what if you're going to school? Like, I mean, school starts at what time for you?
So for me, school starts at 7:45. So yeah, like I wake up every day, like even on the weekends at the same time. So, yeah, like I'm used to it now.
Okay. So for somebody whose school also starts at 7:45, they can't wake up at 8 or 9 because when they go to school. So like, how did you start to wake up earlier in the sense of like creating that routine? Because the routine is, let's say again, typically you wake up at 6. But you want to start a new routine of waking up at 5:30 because you want to do something before you actually start getting ready for school. Maybe you want to work out. Maybe you want to actually eat breakfast. Maybe you want to read a book or whatever it is. So like, what would that look like for you in terms of creating new routines, if that's what you wanted to do?
Right. So like, because I know a lot of people who normally wake up at 7 and end up at school at like 7:30 when school starts at 7:45. So just like getting up earlier and setting your schedule, like opening a gap in your schedule to really give you that free time to like do things in between, like eat breakfast or, journal about how your morning went, or simple things like that will really put a positive effect on how the rest of your days will go, because it's giving you a time to really reflect on how, your morning went and how you expect the rest of your day will go. And like, as you go throughout the day, like when you get off school, if you don't have like an after school program, if you continue to journal or write like me, then you can just, really reflect and evaluate how your days went and what you expected it to be, how it is, and how you will like, make it better, how you want it to be better in the future, things like that.
Yeah, I love that. So for me, one of the new routines that I won't even say new. So another thing, and when you're thinking about New Year's resolutions for anyone who's listening, just because it's a new year doesn't have to mean it's a new routine. Maybe it's a routine that you have already started, but you want to continue doing. And so it's just, the calendar has just switched, right? You continue doing the same thing. And it could be a good thing. So for me, my routine that I would like to commit to is reading. So I have been reading every day for 15 minutes for the last like almost, well, like 2 months. And that has been like Saturdays, Sundays, Fridays, 7 days. And that has been one thing that I've done is I've started to put that. So for me, usually when I'm like going to work or something like that, it'll be in the morning because by the time nighttime comes, my head is going down in the book and I'm like, I don't remember what I read and I'm dozing off and I'm like, book's closed, I'm going to sleep. So for me, it's creating a routine of reading in the morning. So it's the habit that I'm trying to develop. And then it's the time frame of like when it works for me. So welcome, Naye. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Awesome. We're gonna put you straight on the spot. We're talking about routines versus resolutions. And so Aisha was telling us about a psychologist, Dr. Sophia, who said that we should not put so much pressure on ourselves for resolutions and meaning like a goal or something that you're trying to accomplish. And then I added on to that by saying that we should consider and focus more on developing a routine. Like what is something that you're looking to develop as like daily habits? And so I talked about reading 15 minutes a day is a routine that I would like to continue. And Aisha spoke about several things. She talked about waking up early and writing as routines that she would like to continue and or implement in 2022. And so what about you? What is a routine that you would like to see for yourself?
I think one of my routines would be, I think, finding a time in my day to exercise and staying more active. Like I'm already into a whole lot of like activities and stuff. I think adding an extra step and having like exercising in my like my daily, what's it called, routine. Cause me and my friend was just talking about how we wanted to start exercising. And so I was like, oh yeah, we should. And I was just like, now the question is, where in my day do I put that?
Yeah, I feel that. And so, I mean, like I was just saying about my reading routine, I've now saw that 15 minutes or even less. I mean, I make 15 minutes my like baseline, but once I start getting into it, sometimes I find myself reading for 30 minutes. And I'm just like, wait, where did the time go? And so like starting small, that's another tip that as you're developing the routine, start small. So if you've never worked out for long periods of time, you, Naye, or anybody else listening, start with 5 minutes. Be like, look, I'm going to work out for 5 minutes. I'm going to set my timer. After 5 minutes, I'm going to be done. Because we all know, I'm guilty, I can spend 5 minutes, 50 minutes scrolling like that's nothing. So I've seen these neck things where it's like connected your phone to like your shoulders or something. So like if you want to like have the phone while you're doing a squat, you know.
This is I'm actually glad you brought that up because I feel like a lot of people, they put most of their energy into like social media and like being lazy basically than their New Year's resolutions. And when they do have New Year's resolutions, they make it extravagant instead of starting off with like little things. Naye, raise your head back up. I see you. Because I feel like
forward.
I feel like that's one of the reasons why the New Year's resolutions never happen for most people, because they want to just go like straight into it. Like, I'm going to lose 30 pounds in a year, or I'm going to eat healthy for like the rest of my life. But, you know, it's just, it can't happen that way. So I think like, you know, it's important to take those steps. And like, I'm talking to myself tonight. It's okay.
Yes, this is a judgment-free zone, y'all. And so the second thing I think, you know, connected to setting routines versus resolutions and how to do that is buddy system. So Aisha, you just organically created one with Naye saying like, you know, I do that too. So I'm not, you know, you're not it alone. And Naye, you are already talking about how you and your friend, that's something that you have been talking about. And so that is another way to ensure that a routine doesn't just end up as a resolution, but having that person or having that, some people use the word accountability, having that partner that you can rely on, that y'all aren't going to give up on each other. So like, have you all ever like had something like that? Maybe it wasn't for routine or resolution, but have you ever had something of that nature and it worked or didn't work?
I actually did during quarantine. I had my friend and we would get on FaceTime calls like every evening around like times like this, and we would just work out together. And it would be like, you know, those 7-minute YouTube videos that would be like how to lose 20 pounds in 2 weeks. And then we would just watch the list of workouts they would do, and we would do them together. And we made like a lot of improvement. It wasn't in, you know, 2 weeks, but you know, we lost weight. So it was actually really good to have that motivation. And like I found out that like I work better when I have people, you know, cheering me on and doing it with me rather than me doing it by myself. So, you know, it was really helpful.
I just have a question, right? Have you ever like watched those like exercise videos and was like, you know, I'm definitely gonna do it, and then just like watch the whole thing and then like never do it?
Yes, always. Like I will
Oh my
save the
gosh.
videos. I'll create a whole playlist of just workout videos. I name it essentials. And I never go back. Never go back.
No, I'll literally be, oh, I'm gonna look at this. Oh, let me look at another one just in case, see which one I like better. And I was like, oh, let me start. I just think I want to watch it a little longer. And I just never wound up doing it. But I have a similar story because like during quarantine, there you go. Like during the first like part, no, more maybe the end, because it was like during kind of sort of, what's it called? It was like right before starting, yeah, right before, I can't think of the word, summer break. I think it was like right before going into summer break, or it was the end of the summer towards something like that. I don't remember. But because I was at my aunt's house and stayed there like for a very long time. So we did this thing where it was like I think it was 8 weeks, and we had to like exercise, eat certain things, on this routine, did it every day. Our goal was to like lose weight or whatever. And we did. It was really fun though it was vegan, and vegan food is amazing. It was kind of hard being a vegan for 8 weeks. Not like hard like that. When I went home, I was like, I want a piece of, can I? No? Okay. Y'all eating what? Can I get some? No? Okay. That was hard. When you go back home and you're honest vegan, it's really hard not to eat the food and not to eat sweets, because you couldn't eat sweets for like the whole entire time.
Yeah, I mean that it definitely got to like play around with it. And we've talked so much over this last year about systems, about having relationships with each other and how that supports us in a variety of ways, whether it's mental health, I mean, in these examples, physical health. So finding a trusted friend, and really one tip that, you know, as you're finding that person, is that you all, you might have different goals, whether it's you want to develop a reading habit or workout habit. So you might not be doing the same thing at the same time, but you're using the same space to do it. So maybe you're just on FaceTime together and I'm reading a book and you're working out. It's just sometimes having somebody there to do it with you, right? And like you might pause for a little bit and be like, hey girl, you know, you're doing a great job. And, you know, the other person might be like, oh, wow, what's one thing that you've been learning in the book so far, or that made you laugh or whatever, you know? So it's the social interaction part that I always enjoy. And then the last part that Naye, you kind of touched on that I think also supports routines is make it fun. Find ways to make it not a burden and actually enjoy like the routine or the habit that you are creating for yourself. And so what would you say, and what maybe has worked for you in making routines fun? and things that you're working on committing to?
I would say like having somebody to do it with you. Like if you like have a routine that you want to go with, and especially if it's like something that you can do with somebody else. Like I think say like, oh hey, so I want to try this. Why don't can you try it with me? Can you do it with me? Because I think like talking to the person while doing it, or like just I don't know, seeing the person struggle while you struggle is kind of, not like seeing people struggle is fun, but like just know that you have somebody there with you who like even though you're struggling, they're also struggling. So you don't have to feel bad. But I think yeah, so just doing it with people, I think that's what makes it fun.
I think that also gives you like motivation because like I don't know, when you set like goals out to do with people, it just shows that like this is not only your priority, but it's someone else's priority too. So, you know, it kind of adds in that extra layer of like, okay, I got to do this because they're doing it too. So like, you know, and I feel like that it's a good way to go about things because it just shows responsibility and it shows that like, you know, you have goals and you're willing to like put a foot forward to like get them done and not by yourself too.
Yes, I'm going to preach. Okay, so the last 5 minutes, like New Year's Eve is tomorrow, and in Naye's words, the transformer virus has taken over, and it's now evolved and morphed. And so, you know, COVID has definitely changed and shifted a lot of people's New Year's Eve plans and just how we celebrate in general. And I know for the last few episodes, we've been in the holiday season. So we've been talking about celebrations a lot and, you know, how we're doing things differently. And so what, and maybe Aisha, I'll let you go for this one in terms of like celebrations and, you know, New Year's Eve.
Okay, so popular places to celebrate New Year's. So number one, we have New York. Like a lot of people go to Times Square, do the countdown. I know tomorrow there's going to be a whole like I don't know festival or whatever on Channel 4 about it. Number two, we have Las Vegas, Nevada. You know, people go to the casinos, have parties, dinners, do all of that, and then we have Miami, Florida. Next, and you know, it's all like the same thing. Like a lot of people just go, they witness the fireworks, enjoy dinner with family and friends, have parties, you know, and just like really like celebrate the year that they had and like moving into the new year. However, we are in a pandemic. So the question is, how will COVID affect all of these plans and what events has COVID, you know, put like an impact on and canceled all of those events and closed the businesses down? So yeah.
So, I mean, I think one thing that, so in my mind, yes, COVID has closed a lot, but it's also created lots of opportunities to do things that maybe hadn't been thought about before. So a lot of what Aisha mentioned, you have to be 18 or over to do a lot of those things. Like go to the casino, like if you can travel, you know, with parents or whatever, but also still being safe while doing so. But there are a lot of things that, you know, I found it to be fun during this time of year, and games have been, and I feel like there's been so many new board games that have come out. I recently played Exploding Kittens is a new game that is pretty fun actually. So that's a game that I'm likely to be enjoying tomorrow for New Year's Eve. And then there's this other game. Not as a game, it's more of a experience book. We are not sponsored by the Adventure Challenge, but Adventure Challenge, if you're listening, you'd like to sponsor the Lofty podcast, please do so. But the Adventure Challenge is like a little scratch off thing where you scratch different things off and it has different adventures to do. You can do it like inside the house or you can do it outside. So those are a couple things that came to mind. What about y'all?
All right, so we have a comment from the audience that says, I would definitely be celebrating with less people. And I 100% agree. I will not be celebrating with no one other than my family. I won't even be celebrating. Like, I'll just be home watching, the TV and like, waiting for the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And, that's the celebration. And I also wanted to share an article from Channel 4, NBC.com shared that one of the big festivals annually, named the All First Night Alexandria, has been canceled because of the spread of COVID. And this event is an annual New Year's Eve event. And they basically do what most parties consist of on New Year's Eve: concerts, food, parties, and the fireworks, and also the countdown. So, yeah, it's canceled because of COVID. So, now that we're like expecting all of these events to be canceled, we can, use that time to be home and find new things to do during the New Year's.
I'm kind of looking like, because of everything shut down, I think I'm just kind of looking forward to just be with family, like the small amount. Because I usually like we probably just like bigger all the time, and now that COVID, I think it'll be a cool way to like have a small bit of people chill. Yeah, obviously you gotta be all rowdy on like New Year's, 12 o'clock, you gotta go, woo, and all of that kind of stuff. But I think just being able to do things with your family specifically is kind of fun. So like Miss Ray said, games, hopefully karaoke. I saw somebody put karaoke in the chat. I get to get yelled at about how I'm singing too much, but it's gonna be all good. But yeah, karaoke, I'm kind of the exploding kittens sounds very interesting. I don't think I like the fact that the kittens are being exploded. But okay.
It's fun. It's a card game, and kids, there's no there's no blood and guts or anything on the cards. But yeah, so I won't tell it too much, but you can find it at any local Target.
I want to play the meme game. There's like that.
Yeah.
Like,
what do you mean?
Yeah, and there's so many different ones. I went to the store. I think that was Marshall's, and there was like 4 different types, and I really wanted to get it, but then I didn't, and because I didn't have any money. I couldn't get it. But I'm gonna find a way to get it, because like I saw like
check your cash out now, yeah.
Yeah, because I noticed that when I first saw, I was like, oh, it says adults only. And I was like, oh, never mind. And then I saw another one. I was like, oh, there's a TikTok one. And I just think, come on. I know everybody scrolls through TikTok 24/7. I mean, who doesn't? Aisha, you know what I mean. Scrolling through TikTok all day, every day. Hard to stop.
Okay, I'm guilty.
I don't worry. I'm pretty sure any teenagers watching this who's in the live Zoom right now can relate to. Whoever watches TikTok, I know y'all have watched TikTok all day and didn't even notice.
Yeah, it happens. That's why it's called TikTok, because the time goes by.
Oh my gosh. Wait a
second.
Whoa. They did that.
Wait, that was a joke. Oh my gosh.
But it's the truth.
But it made sense.
Because they were programming us. We were being programmed.
Yeah, we're programmed. It's the government.
Musically wasn't even that addicting. It was addicting, but it wasn't that addicting.
As soon as they merged it. I don't know.
I think you just unlocked the secret.
I know, right? They're gonna shut us down. Remedy, make sure this gets aired, okay?
Now back to your regularly scheduled program.
Turn it to the purge. Oh my gosh. Okay, but see, you guys, we gotta think about these things, because you never know. The government. I blame the government.
It really makes me think about all the names of everything else.
Instagram.
Like, Instagram.
I never
We'll,
thought.
we'll do a
Oh,
we'll do a
no.
decoding we'll do a decoding names in a future episode.
Insta. It's instant. Because you do the stories and they're instant and they only stay for a little bit.
Yes.
But what does gram mean?
So
Gram.
there's definitely levels to that. We can go into like root words. I can tell you.
Hey, if y'all really
It's
want to
like
have an
etymology.
episode about
It's
this,
etymology.
subscribe.
Facts.
I didn't say anything. I totally didn't tell people who are watching on YouTube to subscribe so we can actually do this episode.
Yes, just subscribe to our YouTube channel, Lake Arbor 5.
And I
Follow us on
didn't.
Instagram.
And people who are on Apple, come on now. Y'all know that y'all got easy access. If you have an Apple phone, you see, I have one right here, right? Look, I want to show you guys how easy it is. You see, there's a podcast thing right on it. Give me a minute. There's literally a podcast thing, and all you have to do is click on it, and boom. Like, I don't understand. Why is it so hard? I want to know. Wait, can you see it? Yeah. Well, I'm on it. Why is it so hard for you guys to watch? You just have to type in Teen Summit Podcast and you're there. Like, it's if you have an iPhone, you have the easiest access to watch a podcast.
Well, you guys heard it from Nae first. It is not hard to subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Spotify. So follow us on Instagram, Lake Arbor 5. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Lake Arbor 5 as well. It is very easy. You don't even have to pay. Maybe for Spotify, but you don't have to pay, like, really. 3 months free. But thank you guys so much for tuning in to this week's podcast episode. I hope you guys had a great time enjoying our conversation. Our next episode will be on Thursday, January 13th, where we will talk about more juicy stuff, probably some more de-hacking of, Snapchat, who knows. But thank you guys so much. I hope everyone has a happy new year, and we will see you guys in 2 weeks.
Happy New Year's, y'all. Have a great Happy New Year's.